You're 300 words deep into an email when your cat materializes on your keyboard, their warm body settling across the keys with the precision of a heat-seeking missile, claiming exactly 73% of your workspace. They knead your wrist twice, purr like a diesel engine, and stare at you with those unblinking eyes that seem to say something far more urgent than "pet me." What feels like a territorial invasion of your productivity is actually one of the most sophisticated forms of interspecies communication that exists in your home, and the message they're sending has nothing to do with wanting attention. The daily disruption follows a pattern so predictable you could set your watch by it. 9:30 a.m., you open your laptop for a morning meeting, your cat appears. 1 p.m., you're answering emails. Your cat materializes on the keyboard, covering exactly 75% of the screen. 4 p.m., you're racing to meet a deadline. Your cat decides this is the perfect moment to sprawl across the trackpad, tail swishing with what looks like deliberate satisfaction. We've convinced ourselves it's random, that cats are just naturally drawn to warm electronics or that they enjoy being difficult. But here's what makes this behavior fascinating. Studies in feline cognition show cats are capable of understanding cause and effect with remarkable precision. They know that sitting on your laptop produces a reaction. They recognize the sequence. You focus on screen, they interrupt, you respond. What we interpret as annoying randomness is actually highly intentional communication. Your cat isn't confused about what they're doing. Research from the University of Tokyo found that cats can distinguish between different human activities and adjust their behavior accordingly. When you're cooking, they might sit nearby and wait. When you're sleeping, they typically leave you alone. But when you're staring at a glowing rectangle, ignoring them completely, they escalate. They position themselves between you and the object stealing your attention, creating a physical barrier you cannot ignore. This isn't stubbornness or spite. Behavioral analysis reveals something more profound. Your cat has learned that this specific behavior guarantees your focus shifts from the screen to them, even if that attention feels negative to you. They've cracked the code to human attention in the digital age. The warmth seeker's dilemma seems like the obvious answer, and honestly, it's partially true. Your laptop radiates heat, typically running between 85 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and cats naturally gravitate toward warmth. Their ideal ambient temperature sits around 86 to 97 degrees, significantly higher than the 70 degrees most of us keep our homes. So case closed, right? They're just heat-seeking missiles with fur. Except behavioral thermoregulation tells a completely different story. Cats descended from desert-dwelling ancestors in the Middle East, creatures who spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of finding warm spots for survival. In that environment, warmth meant life. A cat curled up on sun-baked rocks wasn't being lazy. They were maintaining core body temperature in a landscape where nighttime temperatures could drop 40 degrees. But here's where the warmth explanation falls apart. Your home has dozens of warm spots. The sunny patch on the carpet that appears every afternoon, hitting a perfect 92 degrees, the heating vent in the hallway, the dryer you just ran, the top of the refrigerator, which maintains a consistent warmth all day long. Yet your cat ignores all of these thermally superior options and chooses your laptop, which vibrates, clicks, and comes attached to a human who's actively trying to use it. Research from animal behavior specialists shows that when cats have multiple warm locations available, they don't simply choose the warmest one. They choose the warm spot that also satisfies other needs. Temperature matters, but it's never the whole story. Your cat isn't just seeking heat. They're seeking heat, plus something else. Something we've been overlooking this entire time. The scent of connection operates on a level most of us never consciously register, but for your cat, it's everything. When they settle onto your laptop, they're not just occupying space. They're rubbing their face against the corners, pressing their cheeks into the keyboard, dragging their body across the trackpad. Each movement deposits pheromones from scent glands located on their cheeks, paws, and flanks, invisible chemical signatures that communicate ownership and belonging. Cats possess roughly 200 million scent receptors, compared to our measly 5 million. Their world is built on olfactory information we can't even perceive. Your laptop carries your scent, concentrated and potent, because your hands touch it for hours every single day. Skin oils, sweat, the unique bacterial signature that makes you identifiable to your cat from across the room, it's all there, saturated into the keys and palm rest. But here's what makes this behavior remarkable. Your cat isn't trying to erase your scent. Research in feline communication shows they're blending their scent with yours, creating what animal behaviorists call a colony odor. In multi-cat households or wild cat communities, members rub against each other to establish a shared group scent that signals safety and family. When your cat marks your laptop, they're performing the same ritual, declaring that you and this object you touch constantly belong to the same social unit. They're essentially saying, this smells like you and now it smells like us. It's territorial, yes, but not in an aggressive way. It's territorial in the way that love is territorial, claiming connection rather than dominance. Your laptop becomes a scent intersection where your world and theirs overlap. Attention economics operates on a principle your cat understands better than most humans. Attention is a finite resource, and right now, your laptop is winning. From your cat's perspective, that glowing screen has become their primary competitor, an inanimate object that somehow commands more of your focus than they do. Studies tracking human-pet interaction time show that the average person spends 8 to 10 hours daily looking at screens, while direct engagement with pets averages just 20 to 30 minutes. Your cat has done the math, and the numbers don't add up in their favor. They've tried the subtle approaches, sitting nearby, making soft chirping sounds, brushing against your leg. You might glance down, offer a quick scratch, then immediately return your gaze to the screen. They've learned that indirect bids for attention produce minimal results, maybe 5 seconds of acknowledgement before you're back to typing. But sitting directly on the laptop, that generates an immediate, sustained reaction. You stop what you're doing, you make eye contact, you physically interact with them, even if you're moving them aside. Behavioral research from the University of Lincoln found that cats are remarkably skilled at identifying which behaviors produce the strongest human responses, and they repeat those behaviors with increasing frequency. This isn't manipulation in a negative sense, it's adaptation. Your cat has identified that in the hierarchy of your attention, the laptop ranks higher than they do, so they've developed a strategy that forces a choice: deal with the screen or deal with me. They're not being spiteful or jealous in the way we understand those emotions. They're competing for a resource they need, your presence, using the only leverage they have, their physical body, and your inability to work through a cat. The language of love in cats doesn't look like we expect it to, and that's exactly why we miss it. When your cat climbs onto your laptop, turns around 3 times, and settles with their back to you, tail draped across the keyboard, they're not being dismissive. They're showing you one of the highest forms of trust a cat can offer, turning their back to a creature 10 times their size in a vulnerable position. Research in feline attachment theory reveals something profound about this behavior. Cats form secure attachments to their humans in ways remarkably similar to how children bond with parents, but they express that attachment through species-specific signals we've been trained to overlook. A study from Oregon State University found that 64% of cats display secure attachment behaviors, seeking proximity and contact with their preferred human, even when stressed or uncertain. Your cat sitting on your laptop is one of those proximity-seeking behaviors, but it's layered with meaning we're only beginning to understand. They're not just near you, they're between you and your primary focus object. They've positioned themselves in your direct line of sight, in your personal space, in a location where you cannot ignore their presence. This requires enormous confidence in your relationship, a belief that you won't react with aggression or rejection. Think about what they're risking: their safety, their comfort, the possibility you'll push them away. Every evolutionary instinct inherited from their wild ancestors tells them to maintain escape routes and avoid vulnerable positions. Yet here they are, sprawled across your workspace, belly exposed, completely relaxed. That's not annoyance you're witnessing. That's one of the most complex expressions of trust and attachment that exists between two species who, by all evolutionary logic, shouldn't even like each other. Building better bridges starts with recognizing that your cat's laptop invasion isn't a problem to solve. It's a message to answer. The solution isn't pushing them away or getting frustrated. It's creating alternatives that honor what they're actually asking for: your presence, your warmth, your attention. Place a heated pad next to your workspace, positioned where they can see your face and you can reach them easily. Studies show that cats offered warm, human-adjacent spots choose them over distant, warm locations 92% of the time. Schedule 15-minute breaks every 2 hours specifically for interaction, play, petting, eye contact. This predictable attention reduces attention-seeking interruptions by up to 60% because your cat learns that connection is coming. They don't have to force it. Most importantly, when they do climb onto your keyboard, pause for 30 seconds. Make eye contact. Acknowledge what they're telling you, then gently redirect them to their designated spot nearby. You're not rejecting their bid for connection, you're showing them a better way to get what they need, because here's what we've learned. Your cat isn't trying to disrupt your work. They're trying to be part of your world, and that difference changes everything.